the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox with another great episode of Nashville 2. You are Nashville 2. Let's tell your story. If you know of somebody, that a business owner or somebody that's doing something cool in the community, we would love to have them as a guest on Nashville 2. We're recording for seasons 4 and 5 right now. So have them reach out to me. Today's episode of Nashville 2 is brought to you by Trade Bank of Nashville. Trade Bank is a business-to-business barter exchange that helps businesses barter what they have for things they want or need without spending cash. So to find out more about that, definitely you can shoot me an email at edward@aussiefox.com and we can tell you about that. And there'll be some information in the show notes as well. We lost Nathan's video for a second. I don't know where it went, but hopefully he'll be back. And our guest on the show today is Nathan Mallory. Nathan, your camera disappeared on us.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what happened. We were just looking at each other a second ago.
Yeah.
Give me a second to replug it in. That'll probably fix it.
Turn it off and turn it back on again.
There we go. Hello.
Yeah.
That's my life.
Yep.
Is constantly fixing technology every day, constantly for kids and for myself. We have a lot of new high-tech equipment that doesn't have troubleshooting as well.
Right.
So it's like I'm helping the companies to write the book on how to fix technology constantly with our stuff.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. And so back in the day, I had a convenience store in Australia and we rented out VHS VCRs, and took one and hooked it up for a client. We'd rented it out to, could not get it to work. And it was like 30 minutes out of town. We lived in a rural area and my dad's on the phone and we didn't have cell phones back then. So we're both on landlines and, you know, he's like, do this, do this, do this. I'm like 17 and I can't get it to work. And so he makes the drive out there, he unplugs it and he plugs it back in and it works fine. I said, look, I did that 4 times. I did that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get it. Anyway, folks, my guest today is Nathan Mallory, and he owns the Joyful Arcade. And he's also got mobile what's that called? Joyful to Go?
Joyful to Go. We're going to have the grand opening with the Chamber of Commerce out here in Spring Hill in the Williamson County area. And that's going to be unveiling the new rebranded truck, which some people have already seen and experienced, because even though it's not doctored up and pretty and at full capacity with all the technology we want to add, it has been out and about doing events, doing birthdays, doing citywide, special city events and all that, school systems, all that. So people are familiar with it in our little area, sometimes more than the arcade itself, since it has wheels and gets out and about.
Right.
But soon that's going to be fully unveiled, probably in the next coming month.
And you've had some decent publicity on your arcade over the last. How long have you been going with this?
So I started work on it in February. We had our grand opening in May, and I would have the doors open even as I was building the place out, and it was just a shell of a place. I would have the doors open constantly because people in the community would come in and they would wonder what we're doing, and we're kind of tucked away. We're very well hidden.
Right.
But I would still have people come by from the Mexican restaurant nearby and like, what are you doing? So slowly word of mouth has been spreading, but I would say probably 80% of Spring Hill doesn't even know we exist still. So that's been a problem.
Maybe we can help with some of that. So, so I keep bumping my desk. Are you from Middle Tennessee originally?
Yeah, I was born actually here in Williamson County in Franklin, but I've grown up everywhere in Nashville. Bellevue, Brentwood, downtown Nashville, went to high school at MLK, then middle school in West End, and elementary at Aiken. So I'm very familiar with Nashville. I know the turf probably better than most people, since a lot of people have moved here anyways. So It's totally normal to meet people that are just moving in or from California, New York. And I'm not the type that gets all bitter, like, oh, you're ruining my town or any of that. It's, it's really good for business. It's great. I had a great experience in high school because it was sort of a melting pot.
Right.
And there were people from all walks of life, because MLK, you had to have really good grades to get into it. And that was it. There was no other way. You couldn't pay money to get in. You just had to have really high TCAP scores. Right. So I was surrounded by people that were, either intelligent or worked really hard, but they had all types of backgrounds. And I found that to be a really good experience. And MLK was rated the #1 high school in Tennessee when I was there graduating and all that. So I found that to be a really good environment. And that's kind of what's happening to Nashville. Now, I do understand there's going to be people with completely opposing views,
Right.
but yeah, that friction is actually good for communities in a lot of ways. It helps, it helps truth. Either something works or it doesn't. Either 2 + 2 = 4 or it doesn't. Some people are closer with 5 or 6 or 7. Some people may be way off and it's 8,000, whatever. But as we come together and we talk and we discuss, we find common ground. The community kind of builds around people, not ideals.
Right.
And so Spring Hill is turning into that. It's not so bland and, one-sided as it used to be. Now there's more and more people coming in and other walks of life. It's been good, it's been bad. But I find that Spring Hill is becoming more diverse. There's more different types of families and all of that. And so we really want to just serve the community and be a part of that. We don't have any agenda except to create a fun, welcoming space for everybody, all types of walks, to come in and not feel judged or pressured. It's just a place to game and have fun and experience safety and love and joy, all of that.
Right, exactly. And you bring up a lot of good points. And my wife and I moved to Franklin in December of 2021 from Wichita, Kansas, where we'd lived for 30 years. We had a brief stopover in Bowling Green, but I bought a business here in Nashville. And that's why I'm doing the podcast, is to reach out to people like yourself and get your story told, right? We want more people to know about you. What do they say? Rising tide floats all boats, right? And so that's what we want to do. We want to grow the business community. And there's a lot of great stories out there that never get told. And so this is a great way of getting some of those stories out. So we've got about 20 minutes left. Tell me, how did the arcade come about? And then tell me about your business model.
Okay. So as quick as I can, I have a few other businesses out in Lebanon. It's one giant, not giant, just one company, and they own like 4 or 5 other small. Helped establish that. Then dropped off of that. Still have ownership, but now more on the consultant side, passive ownership.
Right. And
was just praying, like, God, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? I have no idea. And as I was falling asleep, and we're actually going to Kentucky the next day, the entire business model came to me. I'm never in my life thought of opening an arcade, have no experience in an arcade, had no more money. Everything had been spent on the other companies, nothing but a little bit of savings, no retirement, nothing tucked away. So I told my wife, like, look, I think God wants me to do this. This is how I speak with the Lord, is I'll, say something and then I'll listen, and then, information will be downloaded. It's not my eyes roll back in my head and I have this, transfiguration experience. So I believe that this was the Lord talking to me. So I talked to my wife and she said, never, ever mention arcade to me ever again. I'm totally not on board with this. She knew it would be expensive, but I saw everything. I knew it was going to be very, very expensive. It was very different. So she was out praying and saying, like, God, what is my husband smoking? This is crazy. We have no money for this. And the Lord spoke to her heart and said, go check the mail. Don't worry about money. And in the mailbox was an envelope full of cash, said, from your friend. That happened 2 more times that week. She'd go out, check the mail, and there's an envelope with different handwriting, from your friend, full of cash. So that was like a sign. It wasn't enough to start the dealer or the arcade. And we went from there, and she got on board and everything lined up. We met the right people, got involved with the community, started it up piece by piece, never having enough money to complete any one thing until it all kind of came together. The culmination around May when we did our grand opening. And that's how the place has been established. Joyful comes from the scriptures, John 15:11, that your joy may be full. Being a dad, I have 4 kids. I never get mad when I see my kids having fun and playing. And we kind of we're not pushing an agenda on anyone. We just want to create a safe, fun space. It's not a Christian organization. I happen to be a Christian, and I happen to know that God loves you. And this is a place that I know God wanted this place. It came from him. I didn't think of this. This wasn't my idea. I never have a background in it. So if in some way having a fun place that parents know is safe and kids know is safe, and they're not going to be bullied or judged, they could do the games that they like to do at home by themselves. It's much, much more fun to do it together. In fact, I did an article called The Lost Art of Playing Together. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm right there with you. I have a bit of a background in the gaming industry through trading card games and video arcades and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that sort of stuff. And all of my kids, my 3 kids, have grown up playing video games, desktop and console and that sort of stuff. So tell me a little bit about how your business model works.
Okay, so that's another unique aspect. You can come in and play hourly, which is totally normal. That's what people expect, is to come in. Actually, people come expecting to put in quarters, but that's done.
Right.
So you come in and you pay $20 an hour. You can play everything that is not virtual reality. So we have PS5s, Xbox X's, PCs, motion cockpit simulators, Rock Band Room, every console under the sun, basically, Sega Genesis, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, and then those old school arcade towers, but they have over 10,000 games. Old school towers, new school hardware, so we can fit every game. Just one of these is basically bigger than any arcade ever made, because it's got all the games from the 70s to the 2000s, light guns, every knob and button you want, and that way they can experience get their nostalgia itch scratched if it's the adults. But I think the other thing that makes us unique is the fact that we do memberships. So instead of actually, paying every time you come in, which can add up,
right?
You get to actually pay monthly, like a subscription service, like Netflix or whatever. And then you'll be able to play as much as you want, no restrictions, come anytime. You don't have to reserve a space. You don't have a limited amount of things you can do. You get to play with everybody, and everything is friended. This is another thing that makes us unique. It took like 4 weeks and 40 emails, but we've created our own ecosystem within the arcade, totally revolutionary, where we have created accounts, personal accounts, for every game software that's out there. So EA Games, Epic Games, Ubisoft, Microsoft login, all of that. And it's all the same name. So Joyful Xbox One, Joyful Xbox 2, Joyful PC 1, Joyful PC 2, which means the kids can join a game together immediately. They push a button, they're already best friends, and they're not friended with anybody else outside the arcade. So anybody, you're not going to play with any weirdos, and you can jump in a game immediately with your friends. You don't have to remember passwords or logins or any of that. And it also bridges the gap for that little, introverted child that doesn't want to, he wants to play with that kid, but doesn't want to ask. He's never going to ask. Right. Now he just clicks a button. He doesn't even have to ask. He's best friends according to our software. So it makes playing much, much easier. And then VR is $30 an hour, but it also includes the whole arcade. Now our virtual reality is in 5K. It's the same model that's SpaceX and NASA use. We're the only arcade in the country that me or our software company knows that's using it in an arcade fashion. It's expensive, and it takes supercomputers, which are really expensive, to run them. It's 5K in VR. That's a lot harder than just a 5K screen, which is already really hard because you're using double screens, and it's lots of processing power to create that 3D imagery. So we have the best VR easily in Tennessee, easily. However, we're a little bit cheaper than all the other VR places because we're new. So you can experience VR like nowhere else. You can include the VR in a motion cockpit, which makes it photorealistic. Plus, you're now feeling the plane move around with the motion cockpit. It goes every direction, or the race car, or the roller coaster. So we create some really unique experiences that just haven't been done yet, not in this fashion.
That's amazing. And so people just sign up for the subscription model, or they can come and pay by the hour?
Yeah, they can pay by the hour to try it out. If it's something you're going to do more than 3 hours a month, it makes total sense to get a membership. Also, as long as your kids are good and they're above a certain age, and I make exceptions because we know a lot of people in the area, they can just be dropped off. Of course, there's a trust factor there.
Right.
So, I have my own kids, so I'm not letting crazy stuff happen here.
Right.
As best I can, I'm human. So kids can come.
But let's reiterate, you're not a daycare center.
Not a daycare center, but we are used as one.
Right. But if you would trust your kids to be by themselves, then that is available on a case-by-case basis.
Right. And it's really, the cutoff is 12 and up. And we have some members that are young in that area, and they get dropped off and they play here. Otherwise, parents are actually members as well, and they play with their kids. we have as many things for adults to do as we have for kids to do. In fact, some things kids can't even fit in because it's made for adults.
Right.
So we try to make it fun for everybody.
So just take it from the top where you're located.
Okay, we're by the Holiday Inn Express near right off Main Street in Spring Hill, by the Walmart. Across the street from the Walmart, you'll see the Holiday Inn Express. We're on the other side of that.
Okay.
So near Acapulco's. You can find us on our website, joyfularcade.com too.
Okay. And what are your hours most of the time?
Not 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock at night on the weekdays. Then on Saturday, it's from 10 a.m. to 9 o'clock.
And closed on Sundays?
No, open on Sundays, 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay. So what else do we need to know to be able to come and have a good time? I can see a Coke fridge there. So you sell snacks probably and drinks.
Snacks and drinks.
Can people do
we're an amazing place to do birthday parties because we have actually 3 fully decorated birthday party rooms with arcades already in there, mostly for the parents to play while the kids go nuts. Same thing we talked about, 10,000 games, light guns, all that. But then the parents don't have to pay to play on that machine. That's just that for them so they can hang out and chill while we take care of the rest. And we do take care of the rest. The parents get a little intimidated by all the technology because there's never been an arcade like that. Well, we're experts and we help the kids get into Discord, mod games, do the things they watch on YouTube that parents don't know how to do. They don't know how to do. We have all of that. So we are there to actively help the kids do the stuff they've been wanting to do but couldn't do. Make sure they're in the same game together, even though it's super easy to do now, so that parents don't have to worry about it. They can just watch or hang out. And you can, like we said, do hourly, no pressure to get a membership. But if it's a place where you want it to enjoy more of a communal aspect of it and not have to upgrade, your gaming systems and all that, we have all the best technology. Our displays are insane. They're 80-inch OLED 4Ks. Wow. Yeah. That run at 120 frames, which is new for the new consoles. They've only been doing it until 30 and then 60. And now if you have a special TV, you can do 120 frames.
Which is great. For those of you that may not be gamers and may not know what Nathan's talking about, this is top of the line stuff, which makes the gaming experience for those of us that are gamers. We really appreciate that quality of product that we're playing on.
Yeah, I have a problem where I just cannot, if I know there's something better, I have to buy the better thing.
Right.
So you'll see when you come into this place, kids' eyes just bulge out of their heads. If you're a gamer, this is like heaven. There's just everything you could want to do.
Right.
All in the package.
So this question, one of the things we do on this show is we talk about other favorite places, but I'd never want to leave there, right? So, so let's say though, what are you've lived all over Nashville Metro. What are some of your favorite things to do when you're not having fun at your own arcade? Give me 3 hidden gems as we wrap up the show.
Sure. So there's a really nice rock quarry that I shouldn't say this. It's when I was young, you weren't allowed to go there. And I don't know if that's changed. It probably hasn't, but it is the most beautiful place. It's in Bellevue. Not going to give you the coordinates because we would always have to sneak in, but there are some beautiful lakes and rock quarries and stuff outside, 40-minute drive outside of Nashville. If you go towards the Bellevue area, that was some of the most fun I had as a kid, and doing 40-foot cliff jumpings and all that. And if you want to do it legally, which you should, I'm not promoting what I did back then, but that led me to get into Percy Priest Lake. There's some really fun cliff jumping areas off Percy Priest, if you know the lake well. And I did a lot of sailing on Percy Priest when I was little. That's a beautiful place to go and kind of explore because there's islands that you can go explore there. And some of them have some nice rock faces. You'll notice other boats kind of parked around the side and then they climb up there and jump off into the water. I love outdoors. Being in here all the time, although it's super, super fun, I appreciate the outdoors a lot more because when you go out there, you're like, oh, the sun, I forgot about the sun. And it's really nice to go out and see some of the beauty of Nashville. Another really fun place that I enjoyed is just East Nashville now. You probably get that a lot. But when I was a kid in East Nashville wasn't safe. It probably isn't now either.
Yeah,
But
I had a friend. I've actually had a couple of people on the podcast that have grown up in East Nashville, and they say it's a totally different atmosphere.
And it's much cooler for me because I knew what it was like before then.
Right.
So going there is kind of like surreal to me, and the food is so good. There's some really good joints that you can eat there. So I really enjoyed East Nashville and just exploring and eating and checking reviews online and seeing what's best. There's a place called Arnolds, which is downtown Nashville. That's if you want to try Southern food, it won the James Beard Award, which is huge. Right. You don't see a meat and three earn the James Beard Award. Right. It's probably never been done before ever. But if you go to Arnold's downtown, it's only open for lunch. They don't even do dinner. They don't care. They know they've got it down. That is the best Southern food you're going to eat probably anywhere. It's amazing. So that's a good spot. What's another thing that I used to do a lot of? So I won't do another outdoors one. I really enjoy talking about maybe a little competition. What's it called? Oh, goodness. The place that used to be the trolley station. Do you know what I'm talking about downtown?
No.
So trolleys used to run around downtown a couple hundred years ago or whenever it was, maybe 100 years ago. And they converted it into a local club, like a local hangout spot, which is really cool. And I can't remember the name of it. And it's driving me crazy.
What we'll try and do is when Nathan remembers it, he'll shoot me an email and we'll put it in the show notes. So you'll have to check that out as well.
I'll text my parents because they go there all the time. I'm 40 minutes away. So I'm trying to give you guys Nashville places from when I was a youth. Right. That place is getting even better and better. I was there a year and a half ago. Really impressed. I'll give you the notes of where it was, but it's a really fun place because they've got a bowling alley, a swimming pool. It's sort of a speakeasy type environment. You'll see a lot of hipsters there. It's kind of a cool crowd thing to go to. Really good bar and coffee shop. But yeah, I'll figure out the name. We'll put it in the notes. It's a really good spot.
Well, hey, Nathan, any last things you want to tell us about Joyful Arcade or about the mobile setup?
Yeah. So be on the lookout. Keep updated with our website, Facebook, Instagram, if you're even semi interested, because we're always adding stuff. Like we're going to be bringing in a golf simulator probably within the next couple weeks, which is going to be using laser technology to, as you swing the club, the entire back wall will be the green, and you'll just play golf regularly, but you'll never have to walk anywhere. And you can practice your swing over and over again without ball hunting. It's pretty cool because as it measures everything, velocity, angles, all that. But then we'll be opening up the truck, and that'll be a big deal because we'll have a ribbon cutting grand opening and all of that. But you just need to see the place. So if you find yourself in the area, you should definitely come. We'll have a Google tour set up here in the next couple of weeks where you had the pictures done, so you can at least virtually do that.
Right.
But we're still a new business, and there isn't anything like it. You may think you've been to arcades before, you've been to a PC cafe or an esports type place. There's never been anything like this place. It's very different, and you just got to see it.
Well, hey, Nathan, I really appreciate you coming on the show. I wish you all the best, and I'm definitely going to come down and check it out myself. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate what you're doing, Ed. This is great.
Thanks.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.